I'm really glad you just brought that point up, Coach Sage, because the last piece of our presentation here is talking about scholarships and the challenges of the recruiting process. And when you kind of look at it, Division I programs, are the ones that are kind of have the most scholarship opportunity from an athletic standpoint, 12.6 scholarships, but that's only amongst the entire team, right? You got 40 to 50 guys on a team. Typically, we'll divvy that up, and I'm going to ask Coach Slip about that in a question, a question on that in a second. But there's really not a ton of athletic money, out there for, for a specific team. So, if that's what you're chasing right there, then that's going to make things a little difficult. And where there is more opportunity, like you mentioned, Coach Sage, is from an academic standpoint. You got the money out there, for having quality grades. And Coach Silipo, with your team, do you have any guys on your roster that are have a full scholarship? And how does that kind of work with your program?
We don't, almost, but it's rare. It's extremely rare. Like you said, we got 12.6 scholarships. Well, any team in the Division I level who's fully funded has 12.6, because there are a lot of schools out there that aren't fully funded and rely on that merit-based or financial aid-based scholarships. And so a lot of schools also, there's another kind of level of that, is that if you are getting athletic money and academic money, does that cost towards our 12.6? So some schools it does, some schools it doesn't, and so that's another way for programs to try and get kids, or lose kids, depending on how much money they have and that is available. So it's extremely rare for somebody to get a full scholarship. Most of those are percentages, whether it's a 30 or a 10 or a 70 or a 50, whatever it might be, and then it also comes down to need base. How much money does a family need? Do they need a lot? A kid could be worth 70% or 50%, but if they come from a financial, a very well background financially, we would like to have the conversation. If they're bought into BU in our athletic program, our lacrosse program, maybe they're willing to take less. Even though that they know that we love them as a player and we want them as a player, the dollar amount shouldn't affect whether or not they want to be at BU, or any institution. And that goes back to the recruiting process. You need to fall in love with the school. You need to fall in love with the program. Coaches change all the time. Our jobs, we rely on 14 to 22-year-old kids. And so guys, leave for all sorts of different reasons, or, God forbid, maybe get fired because of a social incident. So it's really important that you find the right people, you find the right fit. And at the end of the day, if money is the biggest driving factor, you're probably not making the best decision for yourself, and your 4 years might not be exactly what you're looking for. So, and being a D3 guy who's still paying for his loans, I wouldn't change it for a day. I got recruited by a couple Division I schools, and I wasn't getting big money like some of the kids we got big money, but at the end of the day, the better fit for me as a student athlete was at Ithaca College, and I wouldn't change that for a day, and I'd pay another $20,000 if I had to continue to do it again.
At what point in the recruiting process, Coach Silipo, do you kind of start discussing scholarship opportunities if you do in fact say, hey, this is a kid that we would consider a scholarship player?
We don't start talking money until we offer. We offer a spot on our team first, and then we'll start to discuss dollars, and that's with the boss. The head guy does that with the parents, right? Because we're not going to have the conversation about dollars with the 14-year-old kid. We're going to have the conversation with the parents. And so, that goes from the top down. That's with the head coach. That's his job. And that's when we start to talk about that after an offer's made.
Coach Morgan, can you hear us? I know you're cutting it a little in and out a little bit there. All right, you might be frozen. All right, hopefully we can get back in a second. Since we're kind of towards the end of our presentation here, I just actually wanted to finish with, if you guys can offer up one piece of advice for maybe a student athlete that's going through the recruiting process. I know you've given us tons of really good stuff that players can leave with. With that said, what's one thing that kind of boils to the top of being really, really important as you maybe would offer up a piece of advice to a kid that's going through it right now? Coach Sage, you want to start?
Sure, and I'll keep it pretty generic. Everyone talks about fit. Probably every coach you talk to is going to say you want to find the right fit. And for us, we always say that, but what does it mean? And for us, when we're recruiting, especially at the Division III level, there's a lot of schools out there. We think you want to find a school where you're going to have a great 4 years. There's a lot of places where you can get a good education, play college lacrosse. You want to find a place where you can have a great 4 years, where you can get a great education, play some great lacrosse, meet friends that you're going to have for the rest of your life, and have fun while you're doing it. So that might not be the University of Scranton. We tell guys all the time, if you don't want to be in the city, or if we don't have your major, don't come here just because you want to play lacrosse here. Go somewhere where you're going to have a great 4 years. And I think for me, and I hear it in Silipo, Coach Silipo, and I know he's an Ithaca guy. He played for an awesome coach at an awesome school. I played for an awesome coach at an awesome school, and it's the best thing I ever did. And there were times where I talked to some, other Division IIIs and other, low-level Division Is. I wasn't a scholarship guy, but I was lucky that I was, went Division III, and I think that you got to find a place where you're gonna have a great 4 years, not just have an okay or solid 4 years. Have a great 4 years. And there's your schools out there. You just got to do your homework and do your visits and find it. But there's great fits and great 4-year schools for everyone out there.
Yeah, I'm going to tie on to Coach here. There's hundreds, thousands, right, of schools, and how many people are actually making a living off of lacrosse, right? The club guys are, coaches are, but like there are only a handful of professional lacrosse players that actually make money, and I think it goes back to what type of college experience do you want? Coach Sage and I were getting recruited by, low Division I schools, but we decided to play Division III because we wanted to play, right? We didn't want to wait 2-3 years to develop and then have a small role, right? We wanted to be first-year starters or second-year starters and first-year contributors. And so, it comes back to what type of college experience do you want? Not everybody at the Division I level is going to play as a freshman. Most guys aren't even going to play as seniors. It's an extremely competitive. Our sport is exploding. A lot of people are playing it, and the skills are incredible. And so, for me, it just ties in with Coach. Do your research. Go see a bunch of schools. Obviously, I drank the Kool-Aid at Ithaca and BU and think that those schools, are awesome, and are the best that there are and all this other jazz. But there's so many great schools out there, and I encourage guys to go, even after we offer a kid, go see all the Patriot schools. I don't care, because at the end of the day, I want you to want to come to BU because you want to be at BU, not because I offered you X amount of dollars or because I offered you a spot, because that's what's going to get you through the 4 years, and that's what's going to make you be successful because you bought into what that institution's about, what that program is about, and that's going to make your experience that much better.
I definitely agree with that message, guys. And Coach Silipo, to touch on your point about, you kind of, when you were making your decision, you wanted to go somewhere where you could play and play right away, which I think is important. Now, there's some families that actually just sent us a note, like, if they're going through the process, they want to know, is that a question you can ask when you get recruited? Like, if I'm a junior and I'm on BU's campus and you're recruiting me, can I say, hey, Coach, like, do you see me playing as a freshman? Like, do you see me playing or more as a junior or senior?
Yeah, no, I think I tell guys that all the time. Ask the awkward questions. Make me think. Make me stumble, in terms of what questions you ask. And so that's a good one, And obviously with the early recruitment, it's extremely difficult, because, you're going to get back what you put in. And if you put in a lot of time off the field, in the classroom, then everything on the field is going to take care of itself because that's the stuff that you love. I'll say it myself. I should have worked harder in school, and I feel like if I worked harder in school, the lacrosse stuff would have taken care of itself. So, yeah, feel free to ask, and hopefully we tell you the right thing.
Coach Sage, you kind of feel the same way too? You're pretty open to any type of questions that recruits may ask as it relates to them.
What we tell guys is, when we invite players to campus, we're only inviting the guys that we think could play at this level. So ask those questions because if we're recruiting the right guys, they're talking to other really good coaches at other really good schools. So I think it's really important, like Coach Silipo said, ask an awkward question. Parents ask us, how many guys are recruiting, how many goalies are recruiting, how many face-off guys, and there are times, we're going to be brutally honest. We're going to tell you, we're bringing in, the 3 attackmen, 1 lefty, 1 X guy, 1 right. We're going to tell you exactly what we're doing here because we don't want to hide anything in the recruiting process. We won't bring in. If we're bringing 12 guys, we're going to bring in 12 guys. If we need 14, we're going to bring in 14. We will not bring in 24 guys and cut half of them to get 12. I think it's important to ask those questions. And some people recruit bigger classes because there's a turnover or they have a JV team. Ask those sort of questions. We don't, we're hoping to get more, lockers because we've been doing a good job recruiting, and I want every one of my recruits to have a locker. So we're trying to get our locker room up to 48. We got 44 awesome purple lockers. I need to get a few more because I want every one of my recruited guys to have a locker. So I think that's important for us. I couldn't say that a few years ago. And ask if you're going to be playing as a freshman. I'm happy this year. I don't think we're going to be starting a freshman on defense. And we got some of probably our best recruiting class for defensemen. But that's because we've added some depth that are, upper levels. So ask those tough questions. How many guys are recruiting? What are you looking for? Like Coach Silipo said, ask some awkward questions so you get the right answers. Do it right the first time through, and then you don't have to double back and redo your homework. So I think that's really important to ask those questions.
Great. Well, I appreciate all the advice here, guys. If there are a couple of questions here for anyone listening, on the webinar tonight that we didn't get through, we do have all your questions recorded. We know who asked them, so we're going to make sure to circle back with our college coaches, maybe tomorrow or the next day when they get, a hot minute to check their email, and we'll make sure to get back to you. We don't want to keep our coaches here too late. They're just now in the thick of their season. They're preparing for their first game, and we really appreciate you guys coming out for this last 60 minutes here and giving a lot of good pieces of info and advice for families that are going through the process. Coach Morgan, he lost Wi-Fi. He says thank you as well, and I appreciate everything that he did. And again, any questions that we didn't answer, we'll make sure to get back to you on. And that's it. So thanks for your time, guys. I really appreciate it, and I hope everyone has a great night here.